I need advice for my 23F relationship with my mother 46F and my family as a whole. How do I let go of my hope to change my mother? This is going to be long, and I just need to tell someone the whole story without interruptions. I'm not good at writing and English is not my first language. As a child I thought that my family was super boring and normal. Gradually I have found out that my family is incredibly messed up. I need help and advice in managing my feelings about my family. I can't afford therapy. My parents got a divorce when I was 14. It was hard and all of the family secrets started to come out. My mother was physically abusive to me and my siblings when we were younger. As we grew up, she was mostly just emotionally abusive. When Dad moved away, she started to alienate us from Dad. She denies that and still tries to make Dad the bad guy. I have described the life after Dad moving out as me becoming the wall between my siblings and our mom. Before that, our dad was the wall. Before the divorce, I wasn't aware that my family had any problems. My parents hid it very well. Before Dad moved away, he was the wall. He took all of the abuse from Mom, and after I took it. As the oldest kid in the fam, I guess it was just easy to abuse me the most. Living with Mom was difficult. She decided what the mood of the day was. I was scared to come out of my room some days when I could sense that she was in a bad mood. With her, you always had to be a certain way. We could not show our true emotions, because she would punish us for it. Whenever we did something wrong, she liked to humiliate us in front of the whole family. She yelled at us and said the most vile and insulting things to us just because she felt it was good parenting. She used to use prayers against us. Before dinners, she sometimes mentioned something very specific one of us had done wrong but didn't use names. Example would be like, if I had made a mistake that she deemed to be unforgivable, she would say, "Help us realize all of the mistakes we have done and apologize to one another." But my mother only apologized when it was convenient for her. And she was never wrong. Everything was always someone else's fault. There is so much to tell and I want to, but I can't think of it now. Instead, I will tell some things from my parents' childhoods. My great-grandmother favored boys over girls. And she treated my grandmother very badly. In turn, my grandma was very abusive to my mother and her siblings. She grew up in an abusive family and had an alcoholic as a dad and a narcissist as a mother. This explains her behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. My dad's childhood is completely different. He hasn't talked a lot about it, but I know that he has a lot of trauma too. His brother died from a gunshot wound when he was a child. I happened right in front of my dad, and his sister died of cancer when he was an adult. She died before I was born. Mental health wasn't talked about a lot in the 80 feet, so he never truly processed his emotions. And moving with an abusive partner didn't allow him to process any of it for years either. Only now he has started to figure those feelings out. This has all affected me and my siblings. My dad is very depressed, and my mother definitely has a personality disorder and some narcissist traits, but she refuses to see anything wrong with herself. I have recently realized that I just have to let go of hoping that my mother changes. And I hope that writing all of this helps. I got too overwhelmed at 19 living with my mom, so I decided that I would move in with my dad. The only reason I stayed for so long is my sister. I didn't want the emotional abuse to turn to her after I left, so that's why I stayed. At some point I just lost it and started crying. My sister has said that that was the day she decided to come with me. So we moved to Dad's. Thanks to that, she has actually started to form healthy habits and has had time to grow in an abusive-free home. My dad isn't the best parent, but he is way better than my mom. My brother chose to stay with Mom. He doesn't really understand how abusive our mother is. Because with our mom you are not allowed to show emotions. My brother has anger issues and is very emotionally stunted. He now lives on his own, but he is still dealing with a lot of issues. He has problems with alcohol and drugs, and has been to jail twice, that I know of. He has threatened to himself while drunk. He has also come at my dad with a knife and threatened to him and Mom separate situations. And also he has destroyed our grandparent property and threatened to burn the house down. I am very scared for him, because this ends in only 3 ways. Either he gets help, kills someone, or kills himself. My dad is trying to help him. My mother says that he does it for attention, and I'm just so exhausted from all of this and I don't know what to do. My brother is also somewhat like our mother. I have written down some of my feelings on my notes app over the years and I will write them here. They are in Finnish, so I had to translate, and I used Google Translate, so sorry if it doesn't make sense. I wrote all of these through the years. 1. Well, I'm sure I'm not interested in living when I live with you. So mother doesn't realize that when we live with her, no one wants to help her because she treats us like her slaves. At my father's place, we want to help him with cleaning and other things because he deserves it. He never asks us to do too much, but he expects us to do our part. And so, yes, mother too, but mother pressures and yells at us for not doing housework. But dad doesn't force us to do anything. We just want to help him. 2. Our mother is the TNT near which I at least have to be really careful because if I make even one wrong move it will explode and cause a lot of damage. My mother doesn't realize how much she has destroyed my self-esteem just because she is sometimes wrong. Once mother told me that we should start Bible study when bro comes because he was late. So I went back to my room. Then he came and I went to the kitchen while he was getting food. And mother had started Bible study without us. I asked what this is, she had the nerve to even start crying because I'm never on time. And I thought that she herself didn't inform me that they were starting Bible study and she shouted to us to go to hell. And bro even starts to cry. And then she just calmly continues with sis. I couldn't come out of my room that whole evening because I was really scared. And then I didn't talk to my mother until the evening. And when we talked, of course it was my fault again and my mother didn't have to apologize. Then we moved on to the topic that mom has to do all the housework, so she has the right to be tired and yell at us. And I knew that I couldn't get my mother to understand, as usual, that she was wrong. And then we just kept going with mom and bro as normal, and mom even forced us to stop work for that. Because our schedules don't mean anything and bro was still working until 9 because of that. We all suffer because of my mother, and I'm probably the most because when my father moved, all his behavior was directed at me, and I'm afraid that if I move, it will be directed at him. And mom always finds a new object of pressure. The first was to send job applications and then it was to take shifts. It never ends. She just wants money from me. Mom doesn't treat me like her daughter, but more like a roommate. She might sometimes say that she loves me, and then I have to keep mom happy all the time and be careful what I say because mom's mood changes really fast and she gets angry in 0.01 seconds. It's really hard for me to give up this habit, wherever I am. Even at my father's place, I can't calm down that he's about to explode and I'm observing the atmosphere there as well. My father's face and his speech and tone of voice. It's really hard to keep this up, but there is no other option because I really can't live with my mother anymore. And mother is one of those people who make you forget all the bad things they have done to you. And if we have a problem with bro and he doesn't behave properly, mom just says that he doesn't know how to control his emotions. And I'm not allowed to say anything that could make him angry because mom says so. But he has done the same himself. That seems really unfair. Mom doesn't really try to do anything about his behavior, but she always complains to me and sis if we behave the same way. I'm tired of living with that person. 3. It's funny when in meetings they talk about the fact that one's own actions have effects on others, especially one's own children. And mom complains about it to us, but she herself behaves badly and does not change her ways. Living with my mother is so great because if you sense that her mother is even a little bit angry about something, you have no right to talk to her. And then when she's angry, I'm really afraid to come out of my room. Mom is frankly the worst kind of dictator. It even made bro cry today and that rarely happens. She tells us to go to hell. So living here is dangerous. You're a nervous wreck when you've moved out of here. Mom is a perfect little angel to all her friends and parishioners, but no one knows that mom is a real devil at home. And she is also the victim in all problems, but it is actually the beginning of all problems. 4. My mom treats me as if my dad had poisoned my mind and turned me against her, and my mom behaves as if my dad was the devil and my dad destroyed our family, and she manipulates everyone into believing it and thinking that way. And I don't know what I believe anymore. They are my parents and I know that my mom is a manipulative person, but what do I do with this matter? I can't live with anyone. If I live with my mom, I can't think about things anymore and I can't talk to anyone, and if I live with my dad, my mom turns everything against me and I become an outsider. 5. A memory of my mom came to mind. Mom hated slamming doors and reminded us of it sometimes. I guess she has some traumas from it. Once, bro went to his room in anger and accidentally or intentionally slammed the door, and mom got really angry. Mom went very quickly to bro's room, closed the door and I heard bro say that it was an accident and he cried when mom beat bro. Probably with a belt or something. Mom no longer beats us when we are older and bigger than her. It just seems a bit like she stopped beating us because we know it's wrong so she doesn't want anyone to know. 6. This is the last damn trip with mom and bro. Mom doesn't really understand what no means. She tried to get me to go to sleep dozens of times today, and I said a million times that don't annoy me, I'll go right away, but no, Mom doesn't know what no means. Damn, I will never go anywhere with my mother again. I'm so grateful that I moved away from that. And bro is just stupid. And he complains and mocks and sneers all the time and is just in a bad mood all the time. Who the hell can stand a idiot? He is the most uncomfortable person I know. He always has to sneer, he never says anything nice. I can't stand being around him. It's a good thing that it lives far away, so you don't have to see it anymore unless you have to. I can't wait to get home. I'm not going to last the next 2 days with those two bastards. And all the time we have to talk about alcohol and drugs. And the bros episode was scary. How does he think that such behavior is okay? And he didn't even apologize afterwards, and he still dared to be mean and idiotic in the evening. These are most of the ones about my family. I have a lot of notes about myself and my feelings too, but this is about my family. If anyone reads this, thank you. And if anyone has advice, I'm all ears. I wanted to write so much more, but it just vanished from my mind, so if you have questions, please ask.